What's going on, you guys? So I'm home from Fairfax. As you guys know, I'm currently attending George Mason University, and I'm home for, I'm not sure if this is Halloween break or not, or fall break, whatever you want to call it, but I'm back for now, and I want to take the chance to make this video and say that you already know from the title of the video what is probably going to happen, right? And there's some things I needed to address. I mean this when I say I haven't been honest lately, or I tried so hard to make it seem like everything was going so well when it probably wasn't. It's probably even noticeable too. I was probably convincing myself that this was actually going to work out, or maybe I had a chance of actually, making up for those lost college years. So for those who don't know, I'm currently attending GMU, or George Mason University, and I'm actually a third year. I actually just recently got my degree at Nova. I finally finished up, I graduated, and now I'm working on my bachelor's degree. But here's where things got a little complicated. The truth is, I'm not doing too well. And I partially knew this was gonna happen because I mentioned it so many times in my videos, that in that last video I made about before I even got accepted, but I said that I pretty much lost all motivation to learn. I lost the ability to learn, and frankly, I don't think much has changed, because I'm being honest when I say I can't even take school seriously anymore, just because of everything that's happened to me this year alone. Because if I'm being realistic here, everything that happened this year alone has taught me one thing, and it's that what I'm doing right now is most likely not going to matter in a couple years, because regardless if I fail or if I pass even this semester or even graduate with a degree, the result is going to be the same no matter what, and that I really don't know where it's going to go from there. If anything, I'm going to college just to distract myself, or you could say I'm going for entertainment purposes, whatever you want to call it. We all know what the college experience is, and obviously we all knew that I wanted nothing more than that. But we all knew that our expectations were going to be different from our reality, and little did I know that's exactly what happened. It was fun the first couple weeks, having a place to myself and getting to see new places, new faces all over. It was a brand new experience, and obviously that was fun the first couple weeks, but once you got used to it, you realize that this was not worth the effort, this was not worth the money. It's not even worth a trip back and forth from Ashburn to Fairfax every single week. You realize that maybe this wasn't the best decision after all. But in that moment, you probably thought that it was going to be a huge step or even an investment towards your future. And that's exactly how I felt from the beginning. Initially, before I even got accepted, I was even talking about that it wouldn't matter whether or not I got accepted, because the result was most likely going to be the same either way, and I even mentioned that so many times. This year alone has taught me a lot about myself and what I really was back then versus who I am now. I know 100% a year ago that if I was failing a class, then I would be stressing out over it, or I would be figuring out how can I come back from this. But now that's happening again at George Mason, long after I graduated Nova, I'm thinking to myself, this isn't worth stressing over. It's not even worth mentioning probably, because like I said, the result was probably going to be the same either way. And most likely it wasn't even going to matter in the end, because we all know what the result was going to be no matter what path I went down, no matter what decision I made. It was always going to be the same result no matter what. Like, I'm having trouble trying to explain this, but I'm trying to say that when you think of your college years and you look back, you don't want to think about all the struggles you went through. You don't want to think about the bad times you had. You only want to think about the good stuff that happened. You want to think about all the friends you made, all the connections you made, all those crazy dorm room stories that you could tell over and over again, or even the crazy things you did with the people you met down there, or within those years. That's why people keep referring to them as the best years of their lives. Like, I can't tell you how many times back in high school where I've met so many teachers who keep addressing their college years as their best years of their lives. And frankly, you want nothing more than to be where they were at, just to see what the hype was really about. And obviously, when you look at my situation, it's not even close to what they're probably doing right now. I know 100% that everyone else is most likely doing better than me right now, because I'm not even doing, I don't even have much of a life down at Fairfax. I find myself probably clinging on to Ashburn life a lot harder now, just because I'm really not looking forward to going back to Fairfax every single week, staying there for a couple of days and then coming back at the end of the week. It took me a little while to even realize that I wasn't even making a life for myself down at Fairfax because of my situation, and I'm basically just playing Survivor for the past couple of days, and I'm looking forward to going home each time, just for the week to be over, only to go back thinking, can this week be over already? It makes sense why I think about that right now, why I'm thinking like this now. And don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to say that I'm ungrateful for getting accepted into college, because frankly, we all knew where I was before I got accepted into college. And when I got accepted, I felt the biggest weight get taken off of me. And once I knew I was going to college, I pretty much got the whole summer to myself to enjoy my last summer in Ashburn, or so I thought. In fact, you could say I was happy when I got accepted, because then I wouldn't have to worry about anything and I could just enjoy the time I had until then. Because frankly, I know a couple people who haven't even graduated Nova yet, and I was even talking about how I might be behind schedule here because I was trying to graduate at a certain time. But then you realize that everyone goes their own rate, everyone goes at whatever rate they go at, and it doesn't matter whether or not you graduate this year or next year or even a year later. But what I'm trying to say is I don't really feel like I'm investing my time properly here. I knew what college was, and we all know what college is. We all know that college isn't for everyone, and I know what you're thinking. If you don't like college, if it's not for you, Kevin, then why don't you just drop out? Why don't you just quit while you're ahead and just cut your losses if you know that this isn't what you wanted? Well, it is an option, and it's not uncommon for people to drop out. It's just after everything I went through just to get in, after all the money I paid, how am I supposed to tell my parents or my family that I want to drop out of college when I haven't even finished my first semester yet? It's definitely not an easy decision to make, and it's not one to be made on a whim. Just because I'm doing bad right now, it doesn't mean I'm going to do bad later, because I've seen comebacks before and I have made comebacks before. But right now it's probably this is definitely a different situation altogether, because I have no idea how this is going to go. This is a brand new school, a brand new experience, and probably a lot harder than anything I've ever faced with Nova. The bigger question I'm trying to ask myself is, how am I going to make these years worth it? How am I going to make my last 2 years of college worth it? Not to say that things won't get better in the future, because hey, we really don't know unless we keep moving forward. And frankly, that's all I can do at this point, is to keep pushing forward, and I have no choice but to see this through, because after everything I went through just to get in, I'm at least going to see how this ends. And whether or not I pass or fail, like I said before, it's probably going to result in the same way no matter what. But what I'm trying to say is, this is probably one of the roughest semesters that I've had. And if I'm not going to survive my first semester here, I can't imagine what it's going to be like for the next few. And I definitely cannot even imagine what it's going to be like after I graduate, because I may feel good at first, but I don't even know what life is even going to be like. And that's not something I'm trying to think about. Then again, when you're a college student, that's the last thing you want to think about. This is probably going to be one of the realest videos that I'm going to make on my channel. And I definitely haven't addressed any of this, but most of it needed to be said. I guess by saying this out loud, I might give myself some hope for the future, or it might make me feel better about myself, knowing that I'm not the only one who suffered this, or I'm not the only one who feels this way about college at the moment. Not to say that things won't get better, and frankly, I hope things get better. But right now, it's going to be a rough season for me, and it's definitely going to be a rough semester starting out. I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as I can, even though I've been off for a while. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.